Hi, Dr. J, Ustaz Sabri, Haji Zaha from EM, Mr. Ui Jerusalem from Hai Kong, and everyone. I need slides. So I'm Ashley, I'm from Masca, Victoria. We are lucky to have the highest number of student population in Australia. That's 8,600 out of the 23,000 in Australia in total. We have 6 arms. Just to cater to different interests of students. We used to have 4, we started 2 new ones this year. So the 6 arms are M Sports, we organize sports events, M Careers, Malaysian Aspiration Program for intellectual events, M Culture for Fiesta Malaysia, and the 2 new ones are M Inspire for community project, and M Entrepreneurs to encourage Malaysian students or any university students in Australia to be more an entrepreneur. Okay, so we're going to go through our past and upcoming events, and then I'll talk a little bit about our ASEAN Australia agenda, spearheaded by Masca Vic, supported by Masca National, EM, and all the states. And then we'll have our financial report. Okay, so we had 7 events in the past. Oh, sorry. That's fine. I'm the same as Amanda.
Well, I pretty much stopped. Okay, I think you might be capable of doing that when you go.
Okay, we had 7 events in our first semester. So in March we had meet and greet. We had Fiesta Malaysia. We launched our M Entrepreneurs by inviting 2 CEOs to be in our speaker series. And in April we had our Malaysian Games. In May, we had our first Aspirasi Rakyat Malaysia, and we had our movie night by M Entrepreneurs. So I'm going to just pinpoint 3 major events. The first one is Fiesta Malaysia. That's our significant event every year, just similar to the Citra Malaysia in Brisbane, Shop Malaysia, and similar other festivals in other states. So 3 main achievements for Fiesta this year was we got in Penang tourism. The partnership with Penang Tourism actually allowed us to fly in the hawkers, authentic hawkers and performers from Penang, and that resulted in our Penang Festival, the main highlights of Fiesta. The second achievement was we actually broke through the scope of only promoting to students. We worked with Australian Malaysian Business Council, so that allowed us to reach out to Australian business people and also Malaysian business people who are working or doing their business in Australia. The third thing was we collaborated with local schools. We had our students going to local schools to give dance workshops, so that encouraged them to bring their families, like local Australians, to Fiesta Malaysia, because after all, Fiesta Malaysia is not to promote Malaysia to Malaysians, but it's promoted to other people. For this one, it's the first time we had it over 3 days. We had overwhelming response of more than 5,000 people in that 3 days. And for your information, we usually have 3 Malaysian events in Melbourne every year. The other 2 run by companies. Fiesta is the only one that's run by Malaysian students, and we got credits from City of Melbourne for this. And then for N Sports, this is the Malaysian Games. We usually do that to recruit players for NCG. We have 400 players. And then for this one, it's our very first Aspirasi Rakyat Malaysia. We used a very simple topic like Malaysians, why are you here in Australia? So kids started brainstorming and thinking of why you're in Australia and how you can contribute back to Malaysia when you're back home. And we had about 40+ people in this session. Let's move on. MSOs. We have 7 MSOs, Malaysian student organizations, and we are very close to them this year. Our past policy in the past few years was we acknowledge their presence, but we don't really go to the grassroots level to go to their event. But this year, after we took over the office, we say that because we are representative, so we went to most of their events. Actually, Zain, my deputy, he went to all of them. So if you can see the picture there, they had like barbecues, beach outings, strawberry farm visiting, paintballs, and the good news is 5 out of the 7 MSOs actually collaborating in the second sem for the very first biggest Malaysian ball in September. Upcoming events. So in July, we're going to have our first ASEAN-Australia Youth Summit. I'll go through that a little bit more later. August, info session with SCOMI, Developers Challenge, and Entrepreneurs. The Developers Challenge is a national event. September, info session with Kazana, resume workshop to build up resume for Rajan. ASEAN Games Australia, national initiatives. October, Rajan, MAC Malaysian Aspiration Summit is a national initiative where invite the previous VIPs who invited to our event was the ex-CEO of PwC, Dr. John Russman, and the CEO of Telecom, Johan Rankin, and a few other important people from the government and from the corporates. And December, we're going to have our Inspire Summit Asia, or we call it Inspire C. It's our first event this year. The idea is to have a community project back home. We started with an idea of doing community stuff in Australia, but then we found out that there are already a lot of organizations doing similar things here, and the people who are really in need are our Malaysians back home. So we're going to kickstart a first project in Malaysia, and then we'll roll it out to other ASEAN countries, maybe Indonesia, Vietnam, or Singapore. This can be done with our strong network with the ASEAN communities here, and I'll go to that later. Financial statements. We have we want transparency in our account. So we don't only have the Masca big main account, because we have 6 arms, so we also created a separate account for arms that has a lot of activities and cash outflow and inflow. So you can see here, cash receipts, and then you have cash use, and then the loan to ASEAN Games. We encourage every arm to work independently, like they have to source their funding independently. We don't feed money to them if they want to organize event. Like let's say if for new arms, App Entrepreneurs or App Inspire, we do give them a location. Even ASEAN Games, it was started last year. This year was the 2nd year. So we did give them money, like 2,000, but that was a loan, which means that once the account reach a certain level, they have to return back to our main account. So our main account acts like a bank. Say like NCG, you need venue booking deposit, our bank will channel money to that deposit, but that will have to be repaid back to Masca, the main account. No interest rate. This is our revenue expenses. You can see MAP, M-Careers, M-Culture. M-Culture, basically Fiesta has the biggest cash inflow and outflow. M-Sports, and that's our net profit, 23,500 gross. Before the ASEAN-Australia, I'll go through that first. Cool. So we can, like we mentioned this before in our previous national summit, that among Malaysian community itself, we're already doing very well. Like, I mean, we do acknowledge the fact that there's some certain gap between different states, but the fact that from the presentations that we saw just now, we knew that every state is actually progressing very well. So we shouldn't just get stuck at the Malaysian level. We should actually go beyond the Malaysian level. I can use the example of a company. When a company goes very strong, they usually go overseas. So we are modeling the same structure. So in 2011, last year, we kickstarted the ASEAN-Australia agenda that was spearheaded by Masca Victoria. And then we brought in, with the ASEAN Games, we brought in the Indonesian and the Vietnamese student communities. And then this year, we thought, okay, we want to revise the agenda. It was called ASEAN Agenda last year. This year, we revised it ASEAN Australia Agenda. So why do we want to include the Australian part? Because we are all studying here, like most of us have at least 3 years, or some people have 4 years or even PhD. So we thought, if we don't leverage on this opportunity to sort of interact with the Australian students leaders, it's a waste. So we should include them into our agenda. So this agenda has 2 main aims. 2 main aims and 1 minor one. The first one is to establish a strong ASEAN student leaders community in Australia. Second one is to strengthen ASEAN-Australia relationship. And the last one is to enhance the ASEAN identity in Australia. Founding members. So Masca Vic, we spearheaded that. We brought in CIA Vic, Mosa is a Vietnamese one, SOV and the Thai student communities. Those with asterisks are okay, I'll give you an overview. So basically, Malaysians are doing really well, and we should be really, really proud of ourselves. Apart from Malaysians, there are only 2 student communities that have national presence. National presence meaning that they have a national council. They are the Indonesian and the Singaporean. Thai student is a bit special. Thai student has a very strong community and council in every state, but they don't have a national council. Why do I say that they are very strong? Because they have something like NCG every year, and it has been done over the past 4 years. We got shocked when we found out about that. For Vietnamese, they don't have significant presence in other states apart from Victoria and NSW. So for this whole agenda, we have gotten on board national level support from Malaysian, Indonesian, and Thai. For Singaporean, they revert, we spoke and they were interested, they revert by 10 of July. Vietnamese as well. Next up. So, like when you come up with certain policy, you want to make sure that concrete actions are taken and they're not just empty talk. To make sure that it's very, very concrete and sustainable, we push forth the first event. It's called First ASEAN Australia Youth Summit. In July, and we got in support from Melbourne Town Hall. They are bigger partner. So basically, the main idea of the summit is to ensure, the main point is ensure the sustainability of the agenda by creating ownership not only among the Malaysian students but also among these ASEAN student communities, to provide the first platform for leaders to interact and to enable discussion about potential collaboration opportunities. So how is this summit being run? We emulate the structure that's used by the ASEAN Summit out there. That means we rotate the hosting right every year. By saying we're rotating it means that every host has the right to appoint a project leader, but then the other positions in the team is open up to everyone with an ASEAN background. Why do you want to take such a big risk? Because working among Malaysians is really quite difficult, like you have communication problems. If you want to open up to other ASEAN communities, that's a risk to be taken. Because we thought that we don't want to create an agenda just for the sake of creating something new and to put forward a new policy. We want the Youth Summit itself to be a collaboration, to be the aim of the agenda, which is to create collaboration and to produce ASEAN student leaders. Just ignore that bit in the middle. So, with the ASEAN Youth Summit, for now, the momentum is going really strong. All these, the 5 communities in Victoria where we're preparing for our Youth Summit after NCG, we don't want the momentum to just die after the Youth Summit. We want it to continue and we want the sustainability to be there. So we say, hey, we should form a representative council at the ASEAN level. It's called ASEAN Student Council Australia. We play with the words, so it's called Masca. So the main role is only for representation or for liaison. We are very aware that we shouldn't create something that is stronger than us, that will overpower Masca as a whole. So the leaders from these 5 communities, we sat down and we discussed and we said, yes, this council should just be there for a liaison purpose. I mean, a lot of people can say, we don't need a physical presence of council, we can just come together and discuss again and do the same thing again next year. But the thing is, if we don't have something physical, like if we don't have Masca National, of course we can. If we don't have State Masca, our affiliates can do stuff, but it wouldn't go long and it wouldn't be sustainable. So we said we should do this with a physical presence, but of course with the acknowledgement from the current national councils in Australia. So that's why we say we got in Malaysians, Masca National agree with that, state chairpersons informed about that. We have the Indonesian, Thai, and we're getting Singaporean and Vietnamese. So basically, 2 main roles. Here is to liaise with ASEAN, the reps, ambassadors, student organizations, NUS and CISA. Most of us know that Masca just joined as a member, Masca as a whole, just joined as a member of CISA, Council of International Students Australia, and NUS is the National Union of Students. And then this ASCA would we model Masca structure. So this ASCA would have ASEAN-based national councils, ASEAN-based state councils, and of course their own universities. So for the first few years, we're going to focus for the first year, our focus will be in Victoria itself. Why? Because we don't want to, people may get excited or people may get skeptical if you open it up to all the states at the same time. We wouldn't be able to take care of all these states together. So we want, since we're already doing quite good in Victoria, we'll make sure that our attention is in Victoria. we built Victoria up and we use that as a blueprint to spread it to other states. So we go step by step, but of course to formulate it has to be from a national level, because if you start from Victoria, other people will be like, oh, Victoria going good, yeah, just go ahead, then keep going. They may not be strong motivation to sort of adopt that at the national level. So that's all about Masca. If I can sum up achievements in the past, it can be categorized into two categories, internal and external. So internal, like we said before, we really go grassroots with our MSOs. How do you do that? We establish a discussion board. Before these MSOs, they were acknowledged as affiliates. We acknowledge them as the board, like the board of director. We call them the boards. And we have a Facebook group for discussion, for any information dissemination. Of course, we can send them email, but if you do on Facebook, it's faster, but we still send email for official procedures. Second thing is, we went to all their events and we encouraged them to come together and form the biggest ball for the first time. Another internal achievement is our HR. A lot of us face transition problem, like I'm going off next year, going to take over. So we model company's internship structure. We call it YES, it's our Youth as a Affiliate system. So that means that new students, when they come in, they choose to intern in any of our Masca office. We have chairperson office, deputy office, secretary, treasury, and state arms. So from there, they actually get to learn for one term, and then next year they can go on from junior executive, nice name, to senior executive, and to run for council member. External wise, branding. Our marketing is spearheaded by our deputy chairperson of this day. So this year we're quite active on Twitter. We started Instagram, started YouTube, and we sort of started the press statement. So this press statement will be posted, some of you guys may be aware of that. It's posted every week or fortnightly on our big Masca group, everywhere, and across the affiliates as well, to notify everyone what's going on in Masca, in our MSOs, or even in general. And the last one is ASEAN. That's the thing that we're talking about, ASEAN Australia relations.
We allow you one question. One question. Ambitious. One good one. Anyone?
So, quick question. Masca National is trying to affiliate itself with Council of International Students. CISA. We're affiliated to CISA. Yeah. And that's a council for all international students. Yes. Away from ASEAN. Yes. What do you reckon the role or the interplay between CISA and the potential ASEAN Summit, Student Summit, then would there be any redundancy that might occur between that?
Yes. That's actually the thing that we actually thought on for a very long time, so I'll just explain that step by step. So basically, CISA is a Council for International Students, like what mentioned by Tony. It was founded 2 or 3 years ago. Before CISA, there was another group called AFIS, it's Australian Federation of International Students. They've been there for a very long time. They have been very strong with governments, and they used to organize a lot of events for the grassroots level. But what happened was, we have a lot number of international students increasing in Australia, and the workload increased. So 2 years ago or 3 years ago, they, together with another 2 organizations, they established CISA. So they made a very clear role, definition of role, that CISA will take care of lobbying the government policy making, while AFIS take care of grassroots events, like going to grassroots to know international students. But this is not working well because AFIS has no support. Like we have affiliates, AFIS has no support. So basically AFIS are actually clinging on to us. When you know that we have this ASEAN team going on. And for CISA, at the other hand, Gina will know about this. Like CISA, they don't have affiliates at university level. Like NUS, the National Union of Students, all the student unions in your university are affiliated directly with NUS. But CISA has no affiliate. So their affiliate comes from community-based council like Masca, TBIA for Indonesian, or SOB for the Singaporean. So how are we going to make sure that the roles don't overlap? Because the scope of CISA is very big, ASEAN is very consolidated, and with this ASEAN Australia agenda, with the strong network and the bond, I'm stressing on the relationship that's already formed among the councils and the communities. This ASEAN Australia agenda and the ASCA is going to complement the role of CISA. So for the first year, ASCA's progress or focus will be on only our ASEAN community itself. Second year, or towards the third year, it will go more external, so that means it will represent the ASEAN communities more and liaise with CISA and with NUS, and that's when our ASCA role comes into play in terms of welfare of international students, especially the ASEAN students. So we are discussing with CISA. They are very supportive of this thing. So me and Zai go to Brisbane, we go to CISA agent after this to sort of get them to like officially say yes, go ahead, we support you. More questions?
Nope.